Beast Machine's episode reviews now continue with In Darkest Night. Just in case you didn't realize they were trying to paint Silverbolt as Batman with just the depiction alone, you kind of have that just to kind of give you a little subtle hint. So yes, this is the episode where we finally get Silverbolt back and we deal with the ramifications of that, along with finding out exactly what happened to Noble after the events of the previous episode. So we're kind of establishing Noble and the character that it's actually going to be, and now we're going to see what exactly is going on inside Silverbolt's head now that he's no longer a Viacon. It's going to be an interesting ride. Please join me on this. So the scene that we set off with, the beginning of this episode, is the most damaged area of Cybertron we have seen yet. The whole place looks bombed out, and at this point in the show, I'm just thankful for any element of difference in the scenery, so I don't mind this so much. There's almost like a weird implication that this was all done by Savage, which would make him ferociously powerful somehow. But at the very least, it's a different visual than I expect out of this series. It's not just a bunch of dark, bluish, gray buildings, right? So it's something different. It's at least unique visual. We already so let's focus on these plots one at a time because they really do separate pretty hard in this episode. The B plot to the episode is Nightscream trying to find and just trying to find Noble and what happened to him. Even though he was this is where I don't understand. Like, even though he was covered, like, this was just Megatron tricking him the whole time. Their entire friendship was a lie. And instead of just accepting the betrayal, he's trying to find Noble as if the creature Noble is going to somehow be connected to Nightscream, even though it was Megatron that was trying to do the connecting. It does not seem. I mean, he's hurting for his friend, but at the same time, I don't know, kid. I don't know. You got tricked. Accept that you got tricked and move on. But no, he cannot let Noble go. He cannot let his friend go. Gets him in a Viacon trap, which is what drags out Savage. And eventually carts Nightscream off to whatever little hidden bunker he's got, and as Noble just starts handing him these techno-organic apples. So number one, apparently there's just free roaming metal fruit growing on this planet that we were not aware of before. Two, this does kind of explain how Noble was surviving this whole time. There's actually some kind of semi-organic sustenance that he can actually eat. And also, he's kind of reduced to like the intelligence of a dog. Like, there is still some brain in there, and I mean, the organic material is still alive even without Megatron's spark. Again, no real explanation for why. It's just some kind of like weird thing that happened when the two forces clash at the end of season 1. Just whatever got extracted from Megatron to make a wolf come out. Still not going to get over that. Whatever happened to make a wolf come out of Megatron. Also, like, instilled enough DNA and like functioning biology in him to actually keep him alive. It's weird. It is weird. But they're trying to play this like boy and his dog kind of storyline with Noble and Nightscream, and the rest of the Maximals kind of think the way that I was describing. And look, you got tricked, move on. No one else is really concerned about Noble at this point outside of Nightscream. But it does lead to a nice little at least a kind of a chase sequence with Savage with Nightscream and Rat Trap. Viacons show up, they get blown up by a dragon. That's basically your storyline there. So Noble is still just kind of on his own, but he kind of has this kind of like lost dog routine when Night Scream comes around, which is at least something for Night Scream to do that doesn't feel so it doesn't feel so Mary Sue. I feel like in season 1, the writers like watching the message boards and the news groups. Well, there no message boards back then. Like just it's mostly a news group thing still. But just watching the online reaction to it and probably going like, maybe we should dial it back a little bit. So that's not a surprise. That's not a surprise. The other half of the story is where things get a little bit more interesting for me because it revolves around recovering Silverbolt. Now, to begin with this, we do realize this does mean we are losing the best character in the show. Everyone pour one out for Jetstorm and all of his like witty quips and being able to slip from like car salesman type speech all the way to like angered frenzy. I loved this. I love that vocal tick of his where he could just kind of flip the switch from like kind of jokey to menacing. It worked for him. And yeah, it sucks because he pulled us through a lot of like otherwise bad episodes, but he did his job. He did his job. So Rat Trap develops something that is it's a spark extractor wired to a DNA scanner as a way of trying to restore the sparks of all these lost Cybertronians to robotic bodies. They don't know how to make them techno-organic, though, without the Oracle, which, okay, I don't see why all Cybertronians have to be techno-organic. I mean, that seems like a road you can cross later. But, okay. The big problem I have with this is that Black Arachnia is watching him build this, but at no point did she think to build it herself, and at no point is she content to build one on her own after she sees what Rat Trap has done. She steals Rat Trap's prototype. Remember, Black Arachnia was a tech head in the original series. She came up with gadgets all the time. There's really no reason why she shouldn't have been able to cobble it together. Now, it is still pushing the idea of Rat Trap finding his inner tinkerer, but it does feel out of place for Black Arachnia. I will say, I think this episode, more so than any of the others, really does show just how different Black Arachnia is as a character from Beast Wars, because like there's no attitude to the way she speaks in this episode. There's no like sarcasm or like little biting comments. At one time she apologizes to Primal and Cheetor. It's weird. It's weird to hear her talk this way. I mean, I guess like love and reformatting into being an organic will do that to you, but it does seem to come out of nowhere. Well, maybe not so much, but like it's still weird. Point is, it's weird. She steals the extractor. She baits Jetstorm to chase after her. Oh, and they made a point to actually to show that she notices that Primal and Cheetor are getting sucked up into the Grand Mall, but she gets Jetstorm to chase her anyway into the catacombs, into the organic goop, webs him down, sticks him with the extractor, trying to hope that the organic goop is going to do the reformatting thing for him, and it actually does. So credit to her ingenuity there, I guess. She actually figured out how to do it, how to get a trans-organic or techno-organic creature without the Oracle. Good on Black Arachnia. And yeah, this is where we get Silverbolt back. And immediately there's problems. He is very aggressive and angry. He's violent. He actually tackles Black Arachnia in beast mode when she tries to talk to him. So what we're going to find out in this episode as it goes on is that he doesn't know who he is anymore because what Megatron did to him shut off his sense of honor, his code of honor, and he enjoyed his time just doing whatever. He actually enjoyed his time as Jetstorm, and it really makes him question who he is, to the point where he's incredibly angry over it. And he says he's not angry at Megatron for what he turned him into, but it really does come off that way, and there really isn't any other way to interpret it now that I think about it. So he's taken on a much darker persona, which is, what he's going to get stuck through. And obviously, when we look back at his brief appearance in season 1, this doesn't make sense. This is what I mean. Like, I made a whole video, a top 10 about writing errors in Beast Wars. And this is one of the biggest points that I made, is that the shock value is all that the writers seem to care about, not consistency in the characters. This moment was done for the shock of like, what's wrong with Silverbolt? Why is he so different? No. I mean, they don't really explain it very well. It's still kind of confusing why he's the way he is exactly. But okay, fine. He had a traumatic experience. He's processing it. A lot of characters in this show had traumatic experiences they're going through. So, okay, fine. That's not it's not like a out of nowhere story arc for Silverbolt in this series. But it's at least something. So yeah, a few other little points here. So Megatron did capture Primal and Cheetor, and he's now like a giant floating data head akin to Zordon in the last Power Rangers movie. And it's actually kind of intimidating. It is actually kind of threatening. It's a very Sigma virus thing for my Mega Man fans out there. At one point he tells Silverbolt that like he chose a spark because, you're honorable. You fight for honorable causes, and I gave you an honorable cause. I want Megatron to remember, honorable is what cost you Dinobot, which ultimately cost you the golden discs. Honor is what caused Dinobot 2 to betray you and let the Maximals defeat you and the Nemesis. Honor has not done you well, so going with honor a third time, probably not the best idea. So yeah, is there anything else I need to go through here? I think that's about it. I'm still kind of shocked that like Silverbolt managed to scan this entire cave full of fossils, and somehow the scan that took just happened to be half of his old beast mode. Convenient, I think. Also, even though he is like furiously angry and definitely not connected to his center or in balance, he has no problem transforming the second he needs to, which again really defeats the whole rat trap struggling thing when it was so easy for someone off kilter to actually do this. At the end of the day, I think I'm gonna call the episode, man, I'm hovering between passable and enjoyable, because there are good elements to the episode, but there's just, I don't know, I don't know, like it comes down to like what you thought of the Silverbolt twist. I can understand why they did it, and yes, there is a potential logic to it, but at the same time, it just doesn't feel right. So for me, it would be passable quality. For others, if you like Dark Bolt, then maybe it's enjoyable quality. So it's somewhere between the two. But that is another episode review. We continue on with Beast Machines tomorrow. Yeah, hope you've been enjoying. We've only got a few episodes left to go. The show goes pretty quick. But thank you for watching. I will see you next time.
Yeah, I guess I'll give Bardic to Pain. Pain, my number one good best friend. You got this.
You're just basically like Caboose at this point.
Just like
church. Oh God.
That's all right. Let's keep this pain train going. The Caboose is here.
Son of a bitch.
No.
And yeah,
This
you get
makes me
Bardic.
Tucker. I'm quitting.
That was take 2 psychic damage.